Hey, I'm Shay and welcome back to my channel, Books with Shay. So today is the day of the half marathon and that has actually already passed. So we're gonna go ahead and do a quick flashback to earlier this morning. As you can hear, I'm sure I sound exhausted because I am. So we're gonna do a quick flashback to this morning. First, you have to see my view. How beautiful is that? So pretty. So let's look at some footage from this morning and then we'll come back here and we'll talk about how I have officially, I'm officially a failure today of half marathons and spookathon alike. So I'll see you in just a second. So I'm back at my mom's. It is a little windy, so I apologize for the wind noise in the background. And I'm looking a little janky, but it's been a rough morning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened. So I walked to Canada today and I'm so proud of myself for walking 5 miles into Canada from Michigan. And so I've done a half marathon before and I was able to complete the entire 13.1 miles. So we're gonna rewind just a little bit and talk about what happened this time that made it so difficult or virtually impossible for me to complete this half marathon. So basically I have been training and practicing for this, and I trained at a certain time. Like I needed to walk a minute I needed to walk a mile in a certain amount of minutes in order to be able to complete the race by my goal time. And then, like I kind of talked about in yesterday's vlog, when I got here I realized that they wanted me to walk faster than I had been training. And so basically, because I was walking an international half marathon, they had to open up the border so that the people who were racing could come through the border on the America to Canada side and then open it again so we could come from the Canada back to America side. So one is the Ambassador Bridge and then the other is the tunnel that comes back under. And it was a lot of people. There were 25,000 people I think who did the race, and so they were really strict on the border. Of course, you had to show your passport and everything when you picked up your registration packet, and you had to register with your passport number, and so they could identify you by your bib number when you came through and everything. And so there was a lot that went into it because it was international. Basically, I started out strong. My mom who walked with us also, so my mom was like, first mile down, and I was like, holy cow, I feel like we just started like a second ago. I think that might be like the fastest mile that I have walked, and I was super proud of like my first mile and second, and then coming up on the third mile, like all of the whole time I felt like I was doing really well. And then there was a pacer who is just basically a person who does exactly what the name says. She is to show you like what pace, like if you're in front of her or right where she is, you're walking a, like, I don't know, whatever the minute mile is. So if you were at the very front and you're trying to run a 9-minute mile, then there's a pacer that has a neon shirt that says pacer and is holding a sign that says 9 minutes, and so you know that that's how fast of a mile that you're walking. So there was a pacer. I'm sure it's no shock to you guys that I am not a fast walker. It's more about the longevity for me. I can keep going for a long time, but not super crazy quickly or anything. So a like cop type person rides up on a bike and is like, hey look, like this is the last pacer and you need to be in front of her for the bridge crossing, otherwise we're gonna make you get in a van. And I was like, no, like I don't want to get in the van. I can make it, but she is not walking at the pace that you guys said she would be walking at. She's walking faster, because here on my little Apple Watch I can see how fast I'm walking, and I'm 2 seconds within 2 seconds within the pace that I need to be within, and I'm maintaining my 2 seconds. I have been for the last 2 miles. So she's walking faster. They were like, you still have to be in front of her, because that's what border control is using to see when we need to close the bridge, and if we get to the place where the bridge is closing, you guys can't go over. So on the bridge, which is huge, I don't know if we got any shots of that, but it is a huge incline and then a huge decline. And so on the bridge, we started having to jog in order to keep up with the pacer, and it's like a super steep incline, and the bridge is over a mile long. And sorry, the cops or somebody we'll just let them pass. So hopefully that's a little bit better. So we started having to jog on the bridge to keep up with the pacer, and it was a really steep incline, and I had not practiced jogging. I had only practiced my little power walk to get to the finish line. And so I start jogging up the bridge, and my husband is a super trooper and he takes my hand in his arm, so that because he's a faster runner than I am, and so he is running and kind of pulling me along to help me keep pace, and we are just doing our very best, and we make it over the bridge. And so I literally cried when the lady was like, welcome to Canada. I was like, thank you. So we get over the bridge, we're into Canada, and then the cop comes back around and he's like, hey look, you have to make it through the tunnel or they're gonna close the tunnel and you're gonna have to get on the bus. And we were like, but you told us all we had to do was make it over the bridge and we could slow down, because they were like, you can go at your own pace, you just have to make it into Canada so we can reopen the Ambassador Bridge for people to get back and forth between the States and Canada. And so like, it's fine, like if you slow down after that, but you got to make it into Canada. So we made it, we slowed down. He's like, look, you guys need to pick it up because you're gonna close the tunnel and you won't be able to get back to the States unless you get on the bus. And so I tried my darndest to catch the pacer on the other side to get back through the tunnel, but at that point she was so far ahead of us, because we had slowed down thinking that we were okay, that they made us get on the bus right after mile 5. We were at like 5 1/4 when they made us get on the bus, and I had these terrible Charlie horses in my legs. I drank an entire bottle of pickle juice to try to get rid of them, but I hadn't jogged, especially not up such a steep hill before, and it just made my calves cramp up super badly. And then the people in the van were like it's called a weary wagon, what they pick you up in when you are too tired to continue to race. And so the people in the weary wagon who were operating it were like not very nice, and everybody who was having to get on the weary wagon was really distraught, because we paid money and trained hard and came out and wanted to, you know, be able to make it the whole 13 miles. And we were just under halfway before they picked us up, and there were 2 vans full of people that they had to pick up, so it wasn't like it was just me or anything, but it was really disappointing. To kind of wrap that up, I felt really discouraged and disappointed for a little while, but I definitely tried my best, and that's kind of all you can do. Plus, Books and Lala hosted the Spookathon. She lives in Canada. I walked to Canada for the Spookathon. It feels really fitting, so there's that. And then also, I think, so I was listening to a TED Talk that Marcus Cusack did in 2014 maybe, and he talks about throwing discus when he was 8 years old and how he failed, and how his sister was like yelled out to everyone like 3 fails, he failed 3 times, and how distraught he was, and how that caused him to practice harder. It's really a lot more inspirational when he says it. I'll try to link the TED Talk down below, but it just, failure is a part of the fabric of success. And so I didn't know it was going to be like this when I came out here. I didn't know that I was going to have to walk differently than how I'd trained. I didn't know that it was going to be as hard as it was. I thought, having done a half marathon before and having trained the way that I did, that I was going to be fine. And so it just, I was disappointed, but I know it's a part of the fabric of my success, of what's going to happen in the future. And so Marcus Cusack also talks about how he had failed a lot with his books before he wrote The Book Thief, and that when he went to write The Book Thief, finally he was like, I'm going to write something completely for me, and no one's gonna read it, and so it doesn't matter, I can do whatever it is that I want to do. And so he wrote something that he wanted to, without any stipulations of what someone else was going to expect of him. And I feel like I walked the way that I had trained and the way that I wanted to walk, and maybe it didn't work out this time, but if I continued to kind of sew into myself in that way, caring for myself and the way that I train and work out and everything, that I'll only get better. And we're gonna come back, maybe not next year, maybe it'll be the year after, I don't know, but I'm gonna come back at some point and I will conquer the half marathon. I know I will. So yeah, I'm gonna get something to eat, chill out for a second, and then I'll come back and talk about my reading, and we'll wrap up this day 7 Spookathon vlog, because y'all, I is tired. Like, the half marathon, the 16-hour road trip, the 7 days of vlogging, the social interaction this week, just the anxiety that comes with a lot of those things, your girl is done. So I'm going to, yeah, go just chill and get it together for a second and just lick my wounds a little bit, and I'll be back to talk about my reading and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so we're gonna film this last clip on my phone really quick because I honestly just cannot be bothered. So we're gonna do a quick Spookathon wrap up and talk about my reading this week. I read almost nothing this week, mostly just The Turn of the Key. I totally failed Spookathon except for the fact that Turn of the Key fit book in a spooky setting. It fit a book with red on the cover, a thriller, and a book you wouldn't normally read. The only one it doesn't quite fit is a book with a spooky word in the title, and for that I read Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I didn't quite finish, but I will. I'm gonna count it. So there's that. So that's my little wrap up. Thank you so much for watching, hanging out with me this week. We have more than doubled in subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sharing and just coming and being around, and I appreciate you all so much. And hopefully I have some good content coming up that will not be so strained as this is towards the end of the week. And so yeah, just thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys conquered your Spookathon goals. Talk to you next time. Bye.